A quiet morning outside the Capitol where the air feels heavy, not just because of the gray clouds promising rain, but because something big is about to happen. Two big names, Donald Trump and Rand Paul, are about to face off in a way that'll have everyone talking. It's a story about a flashy parade, a group of angry veterans, and a moment that could change how people see these two leaders. Stick with me because this tale is about to take some wild turns. Before we dive in, let us know in the comments where are you watching from, which states, which city. We love to know and connect with our viewers. It all started with a buzz around Washington, D.C. Donald Trump, the man with the golden hair and a love for big ideas, had announced a huge military parade. He wanted it to be a grand show, with tanks rolling down the streets, soldiers marching, and planes flying overhead. The plan was to celebrate the Army's big 250th birthday and, well, maybe show off a little too. Trump thought it would make people proud, a chance to wave flags and cheer for the country. He pictured it as a day everyone would remember, with him at the center, smiling and waving like a king. But not everyone was clapping. Across town, Rand Paul, a senator from Kentucky with a calm voice and strong opinions, wasn't happy. He looked at the price tag, $100 million, and shook his head. To him, that money could do so much more, like help veterans who were struggling to get care from the VA, the place that's supposed to look after soldiers after they come home. Rand wasn't the type to just sit quiet. He believed in small government and spending wisely, and this parade felt like a waste. So he decided to do something about it. One morning, Rand gathered a small group outside the Capitol. The sky was gray, and a cool breeze hinted that rain might come soon. He set up a simple stage with a couple of American flags flapping in the wind. Around 200 people showed up, holding signs that read, "Support vets, not parades," and "Spend on care, not shows." Most of them were veterans or their families, folks who knew the real cost of war. They weren't there to cause trouble, they just wanted their voices heard. Among the crowd was Tom Riley, a 60-year-old veteran with a warm smile and a prosthetic leg. Tom had served in the Army years ago, fighting in tough places like Iraq. When he came home, he expected the VA to help him with his injuries, but it wasn't that easy. He'd waited months for appointments, and sometimes the care felt rushed. Standing there with his cane, Tom was ready to share his story. He didn't hate Trump, but he didn't like the idea of a parade when veterans like him were still waiting for help. Rand stepped up to the microphone, his glasses reflecting the dim light. He wore a simple suit, nothing fancy, and spoke in a steady voice. "Folks, we've got soldiers who gave everything for this country, and now they're struggling," he said. "Spending $100 million on a parade when we could fix that, it doesn't add up." The crowd nodded, some clapping, others shouting agreement. Rand went on, explaining how the money could build new VA clinics or speed up care. His words were calm but firm, like a teacher explaining something important to a room full of kids. As Rand spoke, news of the rally spread fast. Inside the White House, Trump heard about it. He wasn't pleased. To him, the parade was a way to honor the military, not just a show. He saw Rand's protest as a challenge, and Trump never backed down from a fight. So he decided to hit back. That same day, he headed to Mar-a-Lago, his fancy Florida home, for a press conference. The room was all gold and glitter, with big chandeliers hanging from the ceiling and a live X feed playing on a screen behind him. Trump stood there, his tie bright red, and faced the cameras. "Rand Paul," Trump said with a smirk, "he's weak on defense. He doesn't get it. This parade is about strength, about America being the best. He's just jealous because he didn't think of it." The room laughed a little, and Trump kept going, waving his hands like he always did. He talked about how the parade would show the world America's power and how veterans would love it. On the X feed, you could see clips of Rand's rally, and Trump pointed at the screen, mocking the small crowd. "Look at that," he said. "A few signs and some rain? That's all he's got." Back at the Capitol, the rally was heating up. Tom Riley stepped forward, leaning on his cane. The crowd grew quiet as he began to speak. "I served my country," he said, his voice a little shaky but full of heart. "Lost this leg in Iraq. When I came home, I thought the VA would help me. But I waited 6 months for a doctor, and when I got there, they barely listened. My buddies are in the same boat. We don't need a parade, we need care." His words hit hard, and some people in the crowd wiped their eyes. Tom's story wasn't just his own, it was for every veteran who felt forgotten. Rand listened, his face serious. Then something sparked in him. He grabbed the microphone again, not sticking to his planned speech. "Tom's right," he said. "We've got heroes like him waiting for help, and we're talking about tanks in the streets? That's not what America's about." He pointed to Tom, then to the flags. "Let's use that $100 million to fix the VA, to honor our vets the right way." The crowd cheered, louder than before. Someone pulled out a phone and started recording, and soon the moment was all over social media. That impromptu speech took off like wildfire. Clips of Rand and Tom spread across X, TikTok, and YouTube. People started sharing it with captions like, "Finally, someone gets it," and "Vets deserve better." Some folks agreed with Rand, saying the money should go to veterans. Others sided with Trump, arguing the parade would boost pride and jobs. The debate was everywhere, on news channels, in coffee shops, even at family dinners. Public opinion started to shift, with polls showing more people questioning the parade's cost. Meanwhile, at Mar-a-Lago, Trump watched the viral clips. He frowned, then turned back to the cameras. "Rand's just playing politics," he said. "The parade will be amazing, and veterans will love it. We'll make it the best ever." His team nodded, but you could tell they were a little worried. The X feed kept showing Rand's speech, and the comments were mixed. Some praising Trump's vision, others calling for the money to go elsewhere. Back in D.C., the rally started winding down. Rain began to fall, light at first, then steadier. People packed up their signs, but the energy lingered. Tom shook Rand's hand, thanking him for listening. "You gave us a voice," Tom said. Rand smiled, a bit tired but proud. "We're not done yet," he replied. The two walked off together, the crowd thinning out as the rain picked up. The rain outside the Capitol had stopped by the next morning, leaving the streets wet and shiny. The viral video of Rand Paul and Tom Riley was still buzzing online, with millions of views and thousands of comments. Some people loved Rand's idea, saying it was time to put veterans first. Others stood by Trump, arguing the parade would bring jobs and show America's strength. The divide was clear, and it felt like the whole country was picking sides. Inside his office, Rand sat at a wooden desk, papers spread out in front of him. He wore his usual glasses and a plain tie, looking more like a teacher than a senator. His phone kept buzzing with messages from supporters and even a few veterans thanking him. But there were angry calls too, from Trump fans who thought he was ruining a good plan. Rand rubbed his temples, thinking hard. He knew this fight wasn't over. The parade was still on, and Trump wasn't backing down. Across the country, at Mar-a-Lago, Trump was busy too. The gilded ballroom was quiet now, but the chandeliers still sparkled overhead. He sat in a big chair, scrolling through his phone, reading the X posts about Rand's rally. His face turned red when he saw people calling him out for spending too much. "Ridiculous," he muttered, tossing the phone onto a gold-trimmed table. He called in his advisors, a small group of men in dark suits. "We need to make this parade bigger," he said. "Show them it's worth it." They nodded, scribbling notes, but one advisor, a quiet man named Mark, looked unsure. Mark had worked with Trump for years and knew when the boss was pushing too hard. Back in D.C., Rand got a surprise visitor. It was Tom Riley again, walking in with his cane, his prosthetic leg making a soft tap on the floor. He carried a small notebook, its pages worn from use. "Senator," Tom said, sitting down, "I've been talking to other vets. They want to join us, but we need a plan." Rand leaned forward, interested. "Tell me more," he said. Tom opened the notebook, showing names and stories, veterans who'd waited years for VA help, some who'd lost homes because of it. "If we can get them to speak, people might listen," Tom added. Rand liked the idea. He decided to hold another small event, this time inviting a few veterans to share their stories. He picked a spot near the Capitol again, setting up the same stage with flags. The crowd grew to about 300 this time, with more signs and a few TV cameras rolling. The sky was clear now, but the air felt tense. Trump's team had heard about it too, and they weren't happy. At Mar-a-Lago, Trump watched the live feed on a big screen. He saw the veterans stepping up, including a woman named Linda, a 50-year-old Army nurse who'd waited 8 months for surgery. She spoke softly but firmly. "I patched up soldiers in the field," she said. "Now I can't get a doctor to look at my back. That $100 million could change that." The crowd clapped, and Rand nodded, standing beside her. Trump frowned. "They're twisting things," he said to Mark. "We'll show them." He grabbed the microphone for another press conference, the chandeliers gleaming behind him. "Those vets are great," Trump said, his voice loud and confident. "But this parade will honor them. It'll bring jobs, thousands of them. Rand's just playing games." He waved his hand, smiling big, but the X feed showed Linda's story, and the comments were leaning toward her side. Mark whispered to another advisor, "This might not work." Trump ignored him, doubling down. "We're making America strong again," he shouted. Back at the event, Rand took the stage again. He didn't plan a big speech, but Linda's words inspired him. "Look at Linda," he said, pointing to her. "She served us, and now she's waiting. That money could build clinics, hire doctors. Let's honor vets with action, not just a show." The crowd cheered, and phones recorded every word. The video spread fast, getting even more views than before. People started calling their lawmakers, asking for the parade money to go to the VA instead. Trump saw the numbers and got mad. He posted on X himself, typing fast. "Rand Paul is weak. Parade will be huge. Vets will love it. Fake news pushing lies." His followers liked it, but others replied with Tom and Linda stories, asking why the VA wasn't fixed first. The debate grew hotter, with TV shows arguing late into the night. Some hosts backed Trump, saying the parade would boost the economy. Others sided with Rand, showing pictures of veterans in need. Rand and Tom met again, this time in a small coffee shop near the Capitol. The place smelled of fresh brew, and the tables were scratched from years of use. Tom sipped his coffee, looking tired but hopeful. "People are listening," he said, "but Trump's not giving up." Rand nodded, stirring his own cup. "We need to keep pushing," he replied. "Maybe we can talk to him." Tom raised an eyebrow. "You think he'd listen?" Rand shrugged. "Worth a try." The next day, Rand called the White House. After some back and forth, he got through to Mark, the advisor. "Tell the president we want to meet," Rand said, "about the parade and the vets." Mark hesitated, then agreed. A meeting was set at the White House, a neutral spot with a long table and big windows. Rand brought Tom, and Trump brought Mark. The room was quiet at first, the only sound the tick of a clock on the wall. Trump leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. "Rand, this parade is happening," he said. "It's for the vets, for the country." Rand stayed calm. "Mr. President, we're not against honoring them, but Tom here waited 6 months for care. Linda waited 8. That money could help them." Tom nodded, showing his notebook. "We just want a chance," he said softly. Trump listened, tapping his fingers. Mark spoke up. "Sir, the polls are shifting. People like the vet stories." Trump frowned, then sighed.
"Okay, let's look at it," he said. "But the parade stays. Maybe smaller." Rand and Tom exchanged looks. It wasn't a win, but it wasn't a loss either. They agreed to talk more, maybe split the money. Some for the parade, some for the VA. The White House meeting left everyone thinking. The long table where Trump, Rand, Tom, and Mark sat still held the faint smell of coffee from their cups. Outside, the sun shone bright, a contrast to the heavy talks inside. Trump had agreed to think about splitting the $100 million, part for the parade, part for the VA. But no one knew if he'd stick to it. Rand and Tom walked out, hopeful but cautious. Mark stayed behind, scribbling notes for Trump. Back in Kentucky, Rand got to work. He called veterans groups, asking for their input. Tom helped, using his notebook to list names and needs, new clinics, more doctors, faster appointments. The phone rang nonstop, with people from all over supporting the idea. "Use the money for us," one vet said. "We've waited long enough." Rand wrote it all down, feeling the weight of their trust. At Mar-a-Lago, Trump paced the gilded ballroom.
The chandeliers cast sparkles on the floor as he talked to Mark. "The parade's my idea," Trump said, pointing at the X feed showing rally clips. "But those vets, people are talking." Mark nodded. "Sir, the numbers are close. Half want the parade, half want the VA. We could do both." Trump rubbed his chin, thinking. He liked winning, but he also liked being liked. "Fine," he said. "Let's make a deal, but it better look good." A few days later, Trump announced a plan. He held another press conference, the ballroom packed with cameras. The chandeliers gleamed, and the X feed played behind him. "Great news," Trump said, smiling big. "We're doing the parade, smaller but amazing. And we're giving $50 million to the VA for vets. Best of both worlds." He waved his hands, soaking in the applause. On X, he posted, "Winning for vets and America. Thank you, President Trump." Rand heard the news at his office. He sat at his desk, paper still spread out, and read the details. The parade would go on, but with fewer tanks and planes, costing about $50 million. The other half would go to the VA for new clinics and staff. Rand called Tom, who answered with a grin. "It's not perfect," Tom said, "but it's something." Rand agreed. "We pushed and they listened," he said. "That's a start." The veterans event moved to a park near the Capitol. The stage was up again, with flags waving in the breeze. About 400 people came this time, including Linda and other vets. Tom spoke first, leaning on his cane. "We got half the money," he said. "New clinics are coming. It's not everything, but it's a win for us." The crowd cheered, some holding signs that now read, "Half for vets, half for pride." Rand took the microphone, his voice steady. "This shows what happens when we talk," he said. Tom and Linda spoke, and the president listened. "Let's keep pushing for more." Linda nodded, stepping up. "I waited 8 months," she said. "Now I won't have to. Thank you." The cameras rolled, and the moment went viral again, with people sharing it everywhere. Trump watched from Mar-a-Lago, the X feed showing the park event. He smirked, pleased with the balance. "See," he said to Mark, "I fixed it. Everyone's happy." Mark smiled weakly. "It's working, sir," he said. The parade was set for a date soon, with rehearsals starting. Soldiers practiced marches, and planners cut costs where they could. The VA, meanwhile, started planning. New buildings, more hires. It was messy, but it was moving. The public reaction was mixed. Some loved the compromise, saying it honored both the military and the vets. "Smart move," one ex-post read. Others weren't sure. "Half is better than none," a vet wrote, "but why not all?" TV shows debated it, with hosts splitting opinions. Families talked about it too, some proud of the parade, others relieved for the VA. Rand and Tom met one last time, this time at a diner. The place had red booths and the smell of fries in the air. They sat with coffee, looking tired but satisfied. "We changed something," Tom said. "Yeah, but there's more to do." They laughed, planning their next steps. More pressure on the VA, more talks with leaders. Trump, back at Mar-a-Lago, planned the parade details. He wanted it big, but not too big, a balance he hoped would win everyone over. Mark watched, quietly impressed. The country watched too, waiting to see if this deal would hold. And that's the story. Trump and Paul found a way to meet in the middle, with a parade and VA help both happening. What do you think about this ending? Did it work for you? Were you rooting for the vets or the parade? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe and hit that bell icon to never miss the next episode.